Hey guys, welcome back to the Shlog. It's Morgan, and super duper angry Zach is over there digging through parts that he has no idea what he's looking for. He's somewhat confused because he's looking for parts, but not actually working on a bike. Anyway, welcome back to the weekly Shlog, guys. We're here at Highland Cycles in Western Colorado, and this is our weekly vlog of shop work, so we call it the Shlog. If you're brand new, welcome. We're here spreading the gospel of two wheels, trying to get you guys working on your bikes more, keeping them in good shape, and riding more, because that's the goal, right? So Zach is actually working on a weird one over there. It's a Chinese 450. I've actually never seen one of these things in person. It's an SSR. Normally, I would not take that on, but it's the brother of a very good friend. And I told him we would go as far as we could until it got weird, and so far it's going okay. Anyway, welcome to the Shlog, guys. Let's get to work. Alright guys, first on my list for the week is this lovely 450 XCFW owned by a friend of ours up in Telluride. He bought it as a snow bike, rode it as a snow bike, and then he swapped it over to being a dirt bike, and he wants us to just kind of go through and touch everything, make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight, everything's how it should be, make sure it's all good, because, you know, he's a bicycle mechanic, kind of, and definitely a really good ski tech, but not a motorcycle mechanic. So he wants to give it to us so he can have someone he trusts go through it, make sure it's all good. Other thing we got to do is bleed this rear brake because it does nothing. So I'll show you how we do that. And actually, I'll start with that first. So let's start with this rear brake. So the reason it has no pressure whatsoever is because since it was a snow bike, all this was completely disconnected. He tried bleeding it. Like I said, he's a decent bicycle mechanic, but these are a little bit different. So let me show you what we do. I've covered this before, but this always bears repeating because brakes can be really touchy and weird for folks. So let me go grab some tools and we'll be right back. Alright, first things first, syringe and some brake fluid. We're going to suck some brake fluid up into this syringe. There we go. I'll come up here, put it on the bleeder, and then you can just set it up here like that. Go grab our 8mm wrench. Alright, we're going to start by just cracking this and see if we can watch anything happen up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten that up. We're going to pump this brake a few times like that, and then we're going to hold it down, crack it, go back up. We're going to do this a few times. See if we can't get any fluid moving this way. It's trying to do something, but it's not doing it yet. And that's okay. Alright, now I need a wrench to take this off. Alright, so we got that off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to crack this bleeder, and we're going to force fluid back down and up through here. Maybe. Aha! So, alright guys, so I'm pushing on this plunger and nothing, even though this is open, nothing's coming up through here. That is a good indication of what's going on. So, most likely, there is no free play between this and the actual master cylinder. That's kind of a common thing. So we're going to take 10 mil wrench and we're going to give this thing some free play. Because what's going on is this is probably set up just fine for the last person who's using it, but when they took it off, it got, you know, air in it from sitting around, whatever it was, the snow bike. When they put it back on, this thing is probably just putting a little bit of pressure on that piston, which then won't allow the fluid to come up through it. So if we take that pressure off just a little bit, I bet we can force some fluid. Oh, we may have to go even more. And now, now we got some play, and I think it's gonna work just fine. Yeah, whole bunch of air, dripping. It's all right. Tighten that up. There we go. Now it's starting to move some fluid. I can already feel it starting to move the caliper. There we go. That feels good. So that is a good lesson learned. When you're bleeding brakes, if you're not having any luck, try backing the lever, whether it be this pedal or lever up there, completely off. Sometimes I just take the thing off so there's zero pressure on the piston. You know, that way there's no chance anything is putting any pressure on it to then back bleed it. Now what we got to do is we got to set this pedal height and free play and all that. But I'll probably get it just kind of where I think it should be, and then when the customer shows up, we'll get him to sit on it and get his feet on it, because everybody's feet are different. Everybody sits in a different position. Everybody's personal preferences about brakes are way, way different. So I'm just going to get it to where I think it's okay, and then we'll go from there. I checked all the bolts. They're all good. The other thing that he wanted me to check was the fan to make sure it's working. And I ran the bike, got it really hot. I mean, it's not boiling over hot, but it's pretty stinking hot. And then, and the fan didn't come on. So then, let me show you what I did. See if I can show you guys this with this camera. So the tank's just propped up because the thing has to run for the fan to work. It's not just straight off the battery. So these two wires are the wires coming from the fan, hot and ground. And then these wires are coming from the switch, the thermo switch right here, right? So there's hot constantly to the fan while the bike is running. Always, no matter what. And it's a switched ground is what they call it. So what happens is when this gets hot enough, it connects these two wires, and then it connects the ground wire. Let me see if I can point. Connects the ground wire of the fan, which comes out here, to chassis ground. So it wasn't working. So what I did is I took this paper clip, push it in there, and I'm gonna touch it to a ground. See if I can make it stay. Yeah. It's a lot easier with an extra hand, but, and by extra hand I mean one. Alright, so there. Now if we start the bike, the fan comes on. Once we pull it off, the fan turns off. So to me that means that the switch isn't working because the power's going to the fan itself is working. The only thing that's not happening is we're not getting a ground. Now it theoretically could be the chassis ground, but I'm going to check that also, but I don't think so. mainly because all the other chassis grounds seem to be fine, and that wire goes just into a harness and it goes up, and I'm getting 14 volts using that wire, the hot wire and ground wire that it's supposed to be connecting to. So that basically means that's fine. I also took a torch and I heated this up just specifically right here to make sure I was getting plenty hot with that. And yeah, it's super hot. Anyway, and it didn't turn on. So I think we need a new switch. I'm going to check. We might actually have one. I don't think so, but I'm going to check and see if we do. If not, we'll order them one. It'll be good to go. The only downside is we've got to drain all the coolant out to do that. But so there you go. A little bit of electrical diagnosis for you guys. A lot of times I just start jumping things to where I know they're supposed to connect and see if I can't make a connection. So anyway, on to the next part. All right, guys. So up on the lift is a CRF 250X. Actually sent out here from Alabama by a man named Clint, who wants us to work on it, get it running good, and then see if we can't find a home for it out here. Now, I'm not technically a dealer, so I'm not really selling this on consignment. I'm just going to let people know about it, and then I'm going to have them get in touch with him. Yeah, this thing is really nice. Super low hours, full revalve suspension, aftermarket triple clamps. It's already got stainless steel valves and a new piston in it. It's only got like 80 hours on the whole bike anyway. Tires are in really, really good shape. Handguards, it's got a hydraulic clutch. It runs awesome. I just got done cleaning the carburetor. Really didn't have to do much, just kind of blow out the pilot jet and everything. So yeah, anyway, but as I'm looking at this thing, getting it ready, I find something very clearly wrong. You guys can probably see it here, but I want to discuss this because I actually see this happen more often than I feel like I should. And if we take a look at here, this brake line routing is incorrect. So it seems like maybe that would be a good idea if you're putting the thing together you didn't know, but it's a terrible idea because it's out here in the weeds and things can come in here and hook on it and rip it off and all that. Now, the reason he had it off of there or anything is he already put a big brake rotor and like little caliper extender deal, and a new braided steel brake line, which is awesome. But that brake line routing is wrong, so I'm going to fix that. Also, I just want to let you guys know this thing is for sale. If anybody's interested, shoot me an email, morgan@highland-cycles.com. I'll get you in touch with him. It is a 2005 CRF 250X, but I'm telling you, it's like almost new condition. So yeah, I'm gonna take care of that and we'll get on to work. Ooh, also look at this brand new Beta 300 RR that we're going to be putting a recluse in, so make sure you stay tuned. The angry guy is over there working on the most hammered YZ450 I've ever seen in my entire life, and he just put a top end in it, but we're not fixing the multitude of other problems. Anyway, let's get back to work. All right, guys, so I want to show you something on my bike, the 125. So I just got done racing the National Hare and Hound out in Cherry Creek. It was one of the dustiest races I've ever raced in my entire life. Oh, and yes, I'm sitting here in the showroom because it's actually the end of a day here. I'm getting ready to leave, and my bike just happens to be here. But I want to show you guys something that I think is pretty cool. And let me start this by saying I know I should have pulled the filter skin during the race, but I forgot, and I forgot to have my pit crew do it. But anyway, I want to show you why filter skins are really cool for super dusty races. So you can see there's the air filter. That's 97 miles of racing, and it's nasty dirty. And if I had thought about it, I could have, while the cover was still on, I just wanted you guys to see it, had this and then gone, and just like that, while that is still a dirty filter, it's a lot cleaner than it was. And I probably could have done even better if I'd done a little more oil on this than I did before I put it on. But yeah, these things are really cool for big, long, dusty races. I don't use them for like daily riding because rarely do I ride in that much dust, and if I do, I just back off and don't be in that much dust. But yeah, anyway, super cool for long, dusty races. Just wanted to show you guys that. Now I'm going to clean this air filter so I can actually go ride this motorcycle again. Unlike a lot of you we're not cleaning your air filter enough. I just have to say that again. I really want to try to get that into every Shlog, is that you gotta clean your dumb air filter and really oil it up a bunch. Anyway, on to the next job. Ooh, and before I leave this bike, let me just show you what the inside of my airbox looks like. Oh, it's so clean and so nice. And the carburetor looks all clean and happy. That's what I'm talking about. That's what your goal is there, folks, is that when you take your dirty, gnarly air filter off, is that it looks like that on the back side of it. Anyway, now on to the next job. All right, guys, next job was actually supposed to be me jetting a 300 KTM XCW, but the guy really wants to ride it today. He's going to bring it back. So it is going to happen in the Shlog. But the next job right now is I have my 2 KTMs, and I've been talking about this, and I'm going to go ahead and do it now and see how this works out. But I'm going to swap forks. I'm going to put the air forks from the 125 onto the 300 and the spring forks from the 300 onto the 125 and ride the 125 with the spring fork. I really like spring forks. But then also, as you can see, I got the chainsaw on the 300. With the air fork, I'll be able to air up a little bit and make it handle a little bit better with that chainsaw on there. So I'm gonna do that right now while we wait for some other parts to show up, and then we'll get back after it. All right, guys, so Angry Zach is actually doing the jetting and jet block gasket kit on the 17300. I'm not filming that mainly because you guys see me do that a few times. So, and it makes Zach even more angry to have to deal with tiny little gaskets and things. So it's perfect. Gotta keep him super upset. But I will be working on this lovely 2021 Beta 300RR, putting a recluse in it. I'm pretty excited about that. This thing is brand spanky new. It's got maybe, I don't know, 2-3 hours on it. Going to be putting a recluse in there. So I've done a few recluse videos. I'll probably just touch on the highlights here, not doing in-depth. But mainly I'm excited to see what the inside, what the actual clutch looks like on the Beta, new Beta. So I just weighed it. It comes in, it's pretty much full of gas. It's maybe a half a gallon light. And it comes in at 245 pounds. It's got a skid plate. It's got bark busters. It's got headlight, tail light, bag on the handlebars, like for tools and stuff. So it's pretty well ready to go. It doesn't have mooses in the tires, so that's a little bit lighter. But yeah, anyway, let's take this thing apart. So that's crazy looking. That's way different looking than most other clutches. I mean, it's still pretty much normal clutch look, but just outwardly looking at it is definitely freaking funky looking. So grab an Allen, pull this apart, and then we'll start putting that recluse in. So this gentleman went with the full radius CX, so we're replacing everything in here. Pressure plate, basket, inner hub, everything. So it's all coming out, which would be cool, except for the outer basket. We'll take a look at that. I think that looks like kind of like KTM style, so it's looks like it's billet steel, which is really, really nice. So guys, one of the tricks that I've shared numerous times here, but we'll share again, is that when you need to get this nut loose here, and you don't have a clutch holder tool, which a lot of people don't, and that's totally fine, is you leave all the plates in here, and then we're going to grab an impact. We're going to knock these tabs down, we're going to impact and wrap that thing off of there while pushing on the plates, and that'll hold it still. So Beta uses green Loctite on that, which is a bit overkill if you ask me. That's a little much, but we got her off. That's okay. All right, so now this whole rig can come out just like that. And that is one nice, beautiful clutch basket. It's all billet steel. Well, maybe it's cast and then machined. Looks like it's actually cast. So it's not billet, but it's cast, and it's really well machined into place, so it looks nice. Clutch pack looks like a nice clutch pack. Pretty sweet rig. So now let's start putting our recluse in. Don't want to forget this guy. That is, it always sticks to the back of these, so go ahead and put that back there. All right, we got the recluse pack all put in, EXP ring in. Here is the thing, guys, that people have seen mess up quite a few times. So this is the recluse pressure plate. This is their lining disc, they call it. And you see it's got these tabs. Those tabs need to fit into these slots right there. It needs to fit flat. Now, you can get this thing in here and have it off like that, or I've even seen it get like this, and anyway, it messes everything up. So make sure you get those in there. You got to kind of hold it with your hands. You're going to put it down in. There we go. All new springs, keepers, and bolts, which is really nice. All right, guys, so there's Dave. Say hi, Dave. Hey! Mr. Sheets is taking apart this lovely 2015 or 2016 KTM motor. It's funny, we actually just worked on it with the clutch, the recluse, just having anyway. But the gentleman who brought it to us had just rebuilt the bottom end, taken the whole transmission out, new crank, new everything, whatever. He sold the motorcycle, and then it stopped in third gear, and the new owner of the motorcycle brought it in, and we found that right there. And we actually knew that was broken off because the gentleman who owned it had drained the oil and actually found that tooth in the oil. So now we got to find out what this guy did to this motor for that to happen after he sold it, because he built it, ran it just a little bit, was having trouble with the recluse, brought us that, we got it adjusted, and then it did this. So who knows what's going on. But yeah, that's obviously no bueno. So my guess is that there's a thrust washer missing, or in the wrong place, but I don't know. We're gonna find out, and we'll check back and let you guys know what's up. Also, beta, recluse, all good to go. I didn't film any of the rest of it. Like I said, I've done a bunch of recluse videos, so it works just like the KTM as far as installing, bleeding the clutch, adjustment, all that. It's all good. Okay, guys, the plot thickens. So we got the transmission out, and there's the busted piece. And let's see, so if we look right down in there, you can see, get my Nebo here. So you can see that the circlip is not in its place. It's also not all there. The circlip's partially broken, so I'm sure that circlip is what came out and got between the gears and busted that off. So, okay, we know why the gear broke. That's awesome. Now we got to figure out, A, why did the circlip come out and break? Yeah, don't know of that. But then we still got to figure out why the clutch wasn't working. So the reason it was here originally was that the recluse had to be adjusted way far in to make it do its auto clutchy thing. So that was weird, but after talking to recluse and all that, they said, yeah, it's maybe just a thick, clutch plates or whatever. Anyway, whatever. So let's dig in deeper. This is the bolt hole that holds the detent for the shift star, and that is helicoiled, so that's not awesome. And then the really big thing that is interesting is this is the bearing for, I guess that would be the counter shaft. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. So that's the counter shaft as it comes out, or excuse me, that's the main shaft. Sorry. Anyway, whatever. That goes through the clutch, and it's hard to see, but it's sticking out and it's busted. It's hard to see. Zach, I found it is busted. You can see the aluminum around this is busted. So look at Zach. He's excited. This makes him happy. By the way, when things go well, he gets angry. When things are really blown up, he's super stuffed. And by the way, he's eating white bread right now. eating a white bread tortilla. Calling him out. So this bearing, it's too far up. That's one thing, and that makes that doesn't work. And you can, it's hard to tell in the camera, but it's broken. So that aluminum went somewhere. Anyway, the moral of the story is if you're going to build your motor and you're going to be really careful and all that, you better be really careful and know what you're doing. This guy did not, and now it's going to cost him and probably the current owner a bunch of money, because this is going to be expensive, because we need new cases. And then also, man, anyway, so it's bad. And I'm thinking that what happened was probably he didn't have something lined up. I don't know exactly what, right, in the transmission. And then as he pushed the transmission cases, that pushes the cases together, it probably hung up on the transmission and then pushed this bearing, broke that. He probably was like, oh, it sounds like the case is going together, because it probably went cock. Anyway, it's not good. Should have taken it back apart. Yeah, anyway, it's not awesome. So there we go. I will keep checking in as we go. And right now I'm putting tires on this wonderful 790 for our friend Stig, who's here. He's actually having us work on lots of motorcycles while he's here from out of town. So we're doing tires. And then tonight is Thursday night, and we're going to be doing our Thursday night ride. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, because it's going to be awesome. All right, guys. The next job on my lift is on my 300 Daisy here, and we're going to be replacing this Heim joint. This is a super common failure on KTM PDS bikes. They just get worn out. It's not like a bad part or anything like that. They get washed a bunch. They get water in them, and anyway, so super easy to replace if you have the right tool, which is this. Here's a little bit of information that I didn't know before I started working on this last week, is that they have changed the Heim joint from 17 and up. They changed the size of the Heim joint, which means you need a different tool and different Heim joints. So anyway, we got the new tool and the new Heim joints, so let's get in there and get this thing apart. And I'm going to take the shock all the way out of the way. You don't really have to, but it does make your life a lot easier. Big tank makes that top bolt a little bit harder to get out, but it's no big deal. Just kind of pry up on it. It's all good. One of the reasons I love PDS suspension, it's maybe not the best in the whoops and things like that, but it's real nice to get the shock off. All right, so now we got to get these old spacers out. So a little punch like this, you can get on the back spacer, drive it out. Here are the old spacers. Cool thing is the new kit comes with the spacers and the seals already on them. The old style was kind of a pain because the seals were separate from the spacers, so you had to try to push it was just a nightmare. So this is actually really cool that they've got this in there. Hopefully it also seals better, which would be cool too. Here to get this out of the way. We're going to take this off too. Take our cool tool here, and it's really nice because this is the right size to go inside there. Slide it in and it goes right in tight, and it holds the thing straight. And then we take a big hammer and we're gonna knock her out. Boom, just like that. This thing's clearly junk. We'll take our new one from KTM. I have used some of the old ones, the other style, like aftermarket, and they work okay, but they're just not as good. So I'm sticking with OEM on the Heim joint. So now I'm gonna clean this area really good. Hello? How's it going? be right there. All right, so we got that all cleaned up. So we got our tool. I'm gonna put this through it. We're gonna start it. Then we take this other attachment. You can see it's got this caved in or concave area here to go over the Heim joint, so you're not just driving really hard on it. Then we come in, put it on here, and it's also set at the right depth so that it won't drive it too far. There we go. Super simple, really easy install. Let me take our spacers and just tap them. Just like that, guys. This thing is really nice for doing this kind of work. There you go. It's Motion Pro Heim joint tool. It is the 28mm one. And the other one, I forget what size it is, but it's for the older bikes, 16 and back. So anyway, there we go. Gonna put this thing back together, get on to the next job. Hey guys, so I got a little meal time here. Really excited because we got a little package from RK Tech and it's gonna be awesome. So if you guys don't know, we are building a YZ125 to basically do a full shootout between it and my 125 XC. Mr. Robbie Noyles provided us the motorcycle, and now RK Tech, Kelsey at RK Tech, has just done this beautiful work to our head. This is a stock head off the 125 because he doesn't make billet heads for them. He only makes billet heads for like the 300 KTMs and stuff like that. But if you've gone to his website and you see that they don't sell heads, worry not, because they can do this to your stock head. Really excited. He did his milling and all that good stuff, so I'm going to install this thing probably next week. The only other thing we're waiting on that is suspension from Brady at TBT Oklahoma. It's over there in the corner. And then we're going to have, it's an 05, but it's basically going to effectively be a YZ125X with all the upgrades that I did to the 125XC, and we're gonna go shoot them out. Robbie has told me to ride it as if it were mine. He doesn't care if he sees it flying off a cliff or crashing, whatever, so I'm gonna beat on it. So it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited to get that done. So make sure you subscribe because we'll be putting that together next week, 100%. The only other thing on the 125 that it needs is the steering head bearings are real notchy. I don't know if they just need to be cleaned or if they need to be replaced. Either way, I have a set. So again, subscribe because we'll be doing that in next week's Shlog also. Mr. Sheets is putting mousses and tires on that shiny 2021 Beta for that gentleman. We just got done putting the Recluse in it, and he called and said, let's just do mousses because I know you guys suggest them. I said, all right, we can do that. So new mousses and tires. We also just got the Honda Passport all dialed in, I think. Which is actually a really cool little scooter. Anyway, it's gonna be awesome. Let's see. We're getting close to the end of the Shlog here, guys, so I'll see if there's anything else super duper interesting, and then we'll hit you guys with the outro. Hey guys, so it is actually going to be the end of the Shlog. It was craziness, lots of customers and whatever. Anyway, so I'm gonna end it here, but let me give you a little teaser on what's coming up next. First of all, this 2019 250 XCF is going to be our next shootout bike that I'm going to take up to the loop. Right now it's completely box stock. Then we're going to send the suspension to Brady, have him do the TBT love on it, and then I'm going to do it again. So see what the differences are there. That's going to be awesome. Going to be working on that Beta 390, doing fork seals and the wiring upgrade for the charging system. So if you guys have ever heard about that, there is an update for that. So going to be doing that next week. Lots of other things, I'm sure. So anyway, I hope you guys like that. If that was a fun video, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, maybe share this with a friend who you think might enjoy these things. And then maybe hit the notification bell so you know when we're doing videos. And most importantly, I hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels. And I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!